Yes, audible, sir.
Hello, hello, hello. Is it audible?
Audible, sir, audible.
Audible, sir.
Right, okay, thank you. Now let's see, continue. Now how to take previous year questions and how to regroup it so that you'll understand the boundaries. Now look at this. This is international relations questions from 2021 to 2014. Let's have a look. Keep this in mind. This is what UPSC syllabus is. India and its neighborhood, bilateral, regional and global groupings and agreements involving India. Right, and affecting India's interests, effects of politics of developed and developing countries. So this is the thing, an important institution. Look at these questions now. In the last few decades, if the last few decades were of Asia's growth story, the next few years are expected to be Africa's. In the light of this statement, examine India's influence in Africa in recent years. First thing what you have to do is, you have to look at the questions. You have to know in which paper. This is GS paper 2. You should know which questions are from international relations. How you will know? If you go through the questions, you'll understand, right? The USA is facing an existential threat in the form of China that is much more challenging than the erstwhile Soviet Union. Explain. Critically examine the aims and objectives of SCO. What importance did it hold for India? The newly tri-nation partnership of Australia, United Kingdoms, United States is aimed at countering China's ambitions in the Indo-Pacific region. Is it going to supersede the existing partnership in the region? Discuss the strength and impact of AUK-US in the present scenario. Now this is 2021. First, what you have to understand is, look at the weightage that UPSC has given for international relations in 2021. There are 215 marker, there are 210 marker. Right, there are 210 marker, there are 215 marker. So totally 20 plus 30, 50 marks. Look at 2020. There are 210 marker, there are 215 marker, 50 marks. 2019, 210 marker, 215 marker, 50 marks. 2018, 50 marks. 2017, 10, 10, 20 plus 30, 50 marks. In 2016, from 2016 to 2012, each question carried 12.5 marks, right? Not 10 and 15 division, it is 12.5 for each and every question. But UPSC has changed this after 2017. Now here 12.5, 12.5, 12.5, 12.5, 12 fourths 48 plus 4 halves 50, right? So similarly 2015, 50. 2014, you have 5 questions this time, 62.5 marks. So on an average, every year UPSC is asking 50 marker from international relations. That is the first deduction that you have to get it. On an average, every year 50 marks are going to ask out of your 250 marks questions. They are going to be 4 questions exactly. This is first analysis that you have to do. For every module, you have to do in the same way. Next thing is, you look at the questions and you try to understand where the question actually fits into your syllabus. Right? First, you should know the syllabus of this, and then you have to fit it into that syllabus. In the last few decades, if the last few decades were of Asia's growth story, the next few years are expected to be Africa's. In the light of this statement, examine Indian influence in Africa. So it is asking about India's influence in Africa. So it may be classified as India and its bilateral relations. So you should be knowing that India's bilateral relations, right? That is India and Africa. The USA is facing an existential threat in the form of China that is much more challenging than the erstwhile Union, Soviet Union, right? This is asking something about global order where USA is having impact with China and compared to its USSR in the Cold War times. So this can be something called global groupings, effects of policies and politics of developed countries, because this conflict is among USA, USSR, China, which are developed countries. So how they are going to impact India? So the question is on the third concept. Look at next one. Critically examine the aims and objectives of SCO. What importance does it hold for India? Again, the question is from last topic. That is called important international institutions. SCO is an important international institution. What importance does it hold for India? The new tri-nation partnership of AUK-US is aimed at countering China's ambitions in the Indo-Pacific region. Now, look at this. Whenever there are two or more countries, that is something called regional groupings, right? Trilateral groupings or regional groupings. So again, you can fit this into the so-called effects of bilateral regional. This is a regional grouping of Indo-Pacific region. So you can classify the questions in this way. So 4 questions out of 4 topics, from 3 topics they have picked up 4 and they have given this. Similarly, look at 2020. Critically examine the role of WHO in providing global health security during the COVID-19 pandemic. Obviously, 2019 is the 20 is the COVID pandemic year. They asked this question. WHO, World Health Institution. So this is in the last point. That is called important international institutions. Indian diaspora has a decisive role to play in the politics and economy of America and European countries. Critically comment with examples. Now look at this. Indian diaspora has a decisive role to play in politics of economy of America and Europe. They have clearly given in syllabus one topic, that is called Indian diaspora, right? So they have asked that question, how diaspora is playing a crucial role. So this is the thing, Indian diaspora's role in the developed countries such as America and European countries. Who knows, this year they might ask about India's diaspora in West Asia also, right? Now look at this, quadrilateral security dialogue. It is consisting of 4 countries, hence it is something called regional group or something called a group, right? So this will be again groupings question itself into a trade bloc for military alliance in present time. So they are something asking about regional groupings or global groupings. What is the significance of Indo-US defense deals or India-Russia defense deals? India relations with developed countries. Again, the question has come. Keep in mind about the syllabus. I am not going back every time for the syllabus, right? So what is the significance of India and US in its defense deals? Where you can get it? This one. Where? The effects of policies of developed countries. USA and Russia are developed countries, so they are going to have impact on India. US defense deals and India-Russia defense deals, how it is going to have. So this is one thing. So far the questions has been framed on 3 sectors, India and neighborhoods, except that on 3 sectors they have focused. 2019. The time has come for India and Japan to build strong contemporary relations, one involving global and strategic partnership that will have greater significance for Asia and the world as a whole. Now again, just like India, Russia, India, USA, this is India, Japan, which is a super developed country, India and developed countries relations, right? You can classify this as bilateral relations or India and developed countries. Too little cash, too much politics leaves UNESCO fighting for life. Important international institutions, UNESCO. Discuss the statement in the light of US withdrawal and its acquisition of the cultural body as being anti-Israel basis, right? So that question is international institutions. The long sustained image of India as a leader of the oppressed and marginalized nations has disappeared on account of its newfound role in the emerging global order. See, they have clearly said emerging global order, which means global groupings. When the global groupings are changing or global order is changing, India is going to change its foreign policy from idealistic policy to realistic policy, particularly after this PM Modi has taken charge, right? So that question is again, you can classify this into global order or global groupings. What introduces friction into the ties between India and United States of America is that Washington is still unable to find for India a position in its global strategy which would satisfy India's national self-esteem and ambitions. India and its developed countries, USA. Look at this. Whenever something happens with USA, they are asking a question. Right? That is one thing that you have to find. India's relations with Israel have of late acquired a depth and diversity which cannot be rolled back. They have moved to West Asia and they asked about India-Israel relationship, right? Bilateral relationship. You can classify on that. A number of outside powers have entrenched themselves in Central Asia. Whenever you speak about some region, this is called region, right? Central Asian region, which is a zone of interest to India. Discuss the implications in the context of India joining in Ashgabat agreement, right? So this is again a regional grouping agreement. What are the key areas of reforms in the WTO? Important international institutions. If the WTO has to survive in the present context of trade war, especially keeping in mind the interests of India. In what ways would the ongoing US-Iran nuclear pact impacts of or policies of developed countries or developing countries on India's interests? That is where the question is asked. Right? In what ways would the ongoing US-Iran nuclear pact controversy affect the national interest of India? How would India respond to this situation? So this is again 2017. China is using its economic relations and positive trade surplus as a tool to develop potential military power status in Asia. They are speaking about a particular region called Asia and they have framed that question, changing Asia order. ECOSOC, important international institution. The question of India's energy security constitutes the most important part of India's economic progress. Analyze India's energy policy cooperation with West Asian countries. West Asia as a region, they are asking a question. Right? Yesterday we have discussed this on our mission Vijayata, right? So this is the point. Indian diaspora has an important role. Look at this. This is second time they asked on Indian diaspora in the last 3 years. Indian diaspora has an important role to play in Southeast Asian countries. Once they have asked on Indian diaspora role in America and Europe, now they are asking on America with Southeast Asian nations, right? So they are asking how they are going to play a crucial role. The broad objectives of WTO, again, look at this. Important institutions, WTO, they have asked it second time in the last 4 years, are to manage and promote international trade in the era of globalization. But the Doha round of negotiations seems doomed due to the differences between the developed and developing countries, discussed in India's perspective. Evaluate the economic and strategic dimensions of India's Look East policy in the context of post-Cold War international scenario. Now, this is Look East policy. We are looking towards Asian countries. Again, India and some regional organization. Because at that point of time, Narendra Modi has stressed on this. That is why they have asked this question. Increasing cross-border terrorist attacks in India and growing interference in the internal affairs of several member states by Pakistan, India and its neighborhood, okay, are not conducive for the future of SAARC. Again, SAARC, today we have discussed. So this is the question. Increasing cross-border terror attacks in India and growing interference in the international affairs of several member states by Pakistan are not conducive for the future of SAARC. They are asking why SAARC has been a failure, right? Next, they are asking about UNESCO's commission, again international institutions. India, Africa. In 2021, they asked the question. In 2015, they asked the question. Within 6 years, this is a repetition. Critically examine the relation, okay? Now, UN Security Council. Again, important international institution. Project Mosum is considered as unique foreign policy initiative of the Indian government to improve relationship with neighbors, India and its neighborhood. Look at this, Project Mosum. 2015, Government of India has launched this and they asked the question. Terrorist activities and mutual distrust has clouded India-Pakistan. India and its neighborhood relation, India-Pakistan, after this Uri attack, surgical strikes, this question has come, right? 14. With respect to the South China Sea, maritime territorial disputes and rising tensions, affirm the need for safeguarding maritime security to ensure freedom of navigation and overflight throughout the region. In this context, discuss the bilateral issues between India and China, right? Bilateral relationship between India and China over a particular region. The aim of information technology agreements is to lower all taxes and tariffs on information technology products by being signatories to zero. What impact would such agreements have on India's interests? This is something speaking about WTO, because if you know WTO will be functioning on minimum tariff levels, right? So the question is on WTO again. You have to link that. Otherwise, you think that this is technology question. No, this is something which is related to WTO. Some of the international funding agencies have special terms for economic participation, stipulating a substantial component of the aid to be used for sourcing equipment from the leading countries. Discuss on merits of. This is something speaking about important international institutions such as WTO, World Bank, IMF, and their restrictions on giving funding, right? 19. India has recently signed to become founding member of NDB and AIB, important institutions. In that particular year, they have launched it and India became a player. As a result, they asked 12.5 marker. WTO, again, WTO is the third time repeating two questions. So this is how the questions are asked. So you have to first do it, how you have to do. From 2014 at least up to 2021, you have to take the papers, you have to take the syllabus, you have to see the syllabus first, and then you have to mark, okay, these are questions from international relations, and you have to compile them. After that, you have to regroup the questions. What do I mean by regrouping? India and its neighborhood, whatever the questions that we have discussed, whatever the questions that are there in India and its neighborhood, what are the questions? India, Pakistan, India, China, right? In the neighborhood, they have asked this, and they have asked Project Mausam, India's neighborhood first policy. So these four questions. So you have to bring that four questions and map it into this section. So the next thing is you have to bring, after going through that, you have to write this and you have to write all the questions which were asked under this section. Then you will come to know that whenever you are discussing about India and its neighborhood, there are certain areas where India is focusing or UPSC is focusing. One is Pakistan, China, and whatever they do, how their impact is. Or they are asking the global, the regional grouping as such as SAC, such as Project Mausam, such as India's first policy. So either they are asking policy or either they are asking a group consisting of India in the neighborhood or important institutions. Look at Sri Lanka, Pakistan and China, they have asked substantially. So why you have to regroup it? You have to regroup it because in order to understand, okay, in India and neighborhood, though there are 8 countries, UPSC is not focusing on 8 countries, rather they are focusing on evolved trends in neighborhood policy. Or they are going to ask important countries which India has always conflict with. Most probably this time they might ask with Sri Lanka also, right? Or they might ask the question that we have discussed. The entire neighborhood is disturbed today. So they might ask a question in that lines. So this is how, when you study the previous year questions, you have to get that component. Okay, UPSC is focusing on this. Most probably this might be the question. How you will come to know most probably this might be the question? You should be aware of the current affairs that is happening, right? This is India and its neighborhood, first topic in this syllabus. Next grouping, bilateral, regional, global groupings. I have brought some questions and framed this. In the last few decades of Asia's growth story, this is Asia region. They are asking about Africa, right? Tripartite nationship. This is again a regional grouping. So whenever there is a new group, UPSC is asking that, where India's interests are lying, right? Say for example, if it is Quad, UPSC asks that. If it is AUKUS, AUK, US, UPSC is asking this, right? Look this. In the region of global order, India is changing its foreign policy. So the question is how India is changing its foreign policy to suit to the global groupings. Next, India USA in Washington. This is bilateral relations between India USA. You can classify India Africa as bilateral relations also. No, these are the 4 questions that I got. There are almost 8 to 9 questions or 10 questions. Particularly if you have observed this, they are asking major questions. Bilateral groupings, very important countries like India Africa, India China, India USA, India Russia, right? India Japan. So these questions, India Europe. So bilateral groupings. So you will have some knowledge. Whenever I study about bilateral groupings in the extended neighborhood, what are the things that I have to study? India, Iran, India, Israel, India, Saudi Arabia, India and the so-called Japan, India and the so-called South Korea, India, America, India, Europe, India, Russia. So there will be 8. So you have to develop that internally. Otherwise, with all the 190 countries, if you want to prepare, that is not going to be the thing, right? Next one is regional groupings. Regional groupings, again, they are not asking about some regional groupings which are happening in Caribbean islands or in the so-called Bermuda Triangle. They are not asking these type of islands. They are asking, they are dedicatedly focusing on that regions where India has its stake or where India has its interest lying, right? So for that, you should be well aware of what are the regional groupings that UPSC or that is in news which are having influence on India. For example, RCEP, Quad, AUKUS, AUKUS, recently IPEE. This year IPEE will be the question because that is what the new trend is. So this is how you have to think about the questions. Global groupings. Global groupings, definitely the theater is changing now. West Asia theater to Indo-Pacific theater. So definitely the question will be there. How the global order is there. So they will ask these type of questions. Again, here the game will be played by few players like the so-called America, USA, Russia, particularly China. So there will be questions on these triangle. Global groupings, how they are changing. Global theaters, how they are changing. Right? So this is what analysis that you get when you do previous year questions. Look at effects of policies and politics of developed and developing countries on India's interests. USA is facing existential threat. Some fellows are quarreling, USA and China. That policies are hitting us. That may be in the form of trade wars or that may be in the form of any other thing, right? So they are asking these things. Indian diaspora, directly question. Indian diaspora, here the syllabus has not come. Indian diaspora question, right? And then Indo-US deals in India-Russia. So they are going to ask Indian diaspora. Again, we have to look at this. So they ask a question on India, America, India, Europe diaspora, right? India, Southeast Asia diaspora, particularly this year, as it has been in news, India, West Asia diaspora, they might ask it. Look at this, important international institutions. Again, I have not compiled it exhaustively. I have just, for example, I have shown it. SCO, WHO, WTO, UNESCO, these are the things, right? So what I wanted to say is, when you do this, when you design this concept, when you design this concept of preparation, first thing that you have to do is, you have to take syllabus, you have to take previous year questions, you have to go through the previous year questions, you have to read it one time or two times or three times until you understand the question. Once you understand the question, you have to regroup it. You have to regroup in the manner that I did here. Then once you do it on your own, you will never forget, okay, which area UPSC is asking. So what people or aspirants normally do is, they, rather than doing this exercise by themselves, already they have many market material, right? I would have compiled it under KANISHKA IAS and I would have released it. What is the use of doing it? There are many materials which are available in the market. Who has compiled this as per their whims and fancies? So this is not going to help you. If you want to build up your intellectuality trait, the most important thing is you have to do this exercise by yourself. Now, what is the advantage that you are going to get by doing this? Whenever you have done this exercise, it won't take much time. Maximum it might take 2 days if you are not able to read consistently, right? Or 3 days. That's completely fine, take it. But once you do it on your own, your brain will be knowing it. Okay, this is the area where UPSC has asked it, and next time when you touch the paper, then you will come to know, okay, this is the area that they might ask the question. So this is how you have to develop subject, right? This is how you have to develop. Once you understand this concept, if you are a fresher, if you are preparing for 2023, you start doing this exercise, right? Never believe in market material. What do I mean by market material? There will be many materials who have already compiled it for you. You do it by yourself. Then it will add value to your preparation. Anyways, you are going to read market material, right, for preparation. At least do this exercise on your own. If you are doing it on your own, it is going to help you. That is what the point here is. So this is how you have to do. Adding to this. Now this is international relations module you have done in this way. You have to do the same thing for ethics, essay, and for optional also you have to do it. Now, what is the best advantage for optional that you are going to get when you do the same type of structure? In optional, how you have to take? You have to take the topic, you have to bring the previous year questions at one place. Once you bring the optional topics in this way, the answers for the questions will be in the form of questions of last year. The answers for the particular question will be somewhere in the questions of last year itself. You'll get some dimensions. I'll show that in internal security module. When I take internal security module, they will give the dimensions. UPSC asks every year 4 questions or 5 questions, and you will develop what UPSC exactly wants. I repeat, what I am saying is, once you do this exercise on your own, it is going to help you in remembering the syllabus. It is going to tell to your brain that okay, this is the area where UPSC is asking. Next time when you are preparing some current affairs, you will be focusing on it more. Having said that, if you are doing the same thing for your optional, the same exercise that you are seeing on the slide, for every topic, if you are doing this, if you just read the questions itself, right, you will find answers, or you will find some directives how to answer the question from the questions itself. If there are 10 questions, there will be some way to answer that. That I will show you in internal security. If you are not understood my words, when I take the module of internal security, right? This is how you have to prepare. If you are preparing for 2023, if you are doing this, how you have to plan? You have to plan in such a way that this 4 months, June, July, August, September 16th is the mains. Think September last, okay? This 4 months, you have to sit on mains, exclusive mains, right? Half of the day, you have to complete optional. How you can complete optional? What do I mean by completion? You have to take the help of a mentor. You have to join some test series if you have already taken the coaching. You have to get them evaluated. Just like as if you are writing, whether you are writing this year mains or not, our preparation has to be in such a way that yes, I am writing this mains this year. You should be with that mindset. Once you are having that mindset, then definitely you are going to be in that cycle of UPSC. So half day or 60% of your day has to go for optional. The rest of the 40% of your day should be dedicated to the so-called the concept called module wise preparation for GS. So where you can start for that? You can start with internal security, Indian economy, international relations. You have to focus on priority wise based on the marks. So half of your day GS, half of your day or 60% of your day optional. This should be the design. In GS, priority wise based on the marks weightage, you have to prioritize that, right? After that, maybe after completing out of 11 modules, if you are completing 5 modules, then you have to take essay writing ethics, because once you prepare this content, the required material for ethics and essay will be ready. Otherwise, if you start with essay writing itself, right, our pen will not move. We'll be looking for ideas, right? Once you know the subject of other things, that will act as a foundation to write something on the essay paper. That is very important. So keep target for optional separately, GS separately. In GS also, first finish some basic components such as the Indian society, social justice, polity, economy, international relations, security. Once you complete these 6 topics, your content for essay writing will be ready. And ethics anyways, already we have discussed in my last year also. I have dealt how to go ahead with ethics in a similar manner. I have shown you, right? There are 20 videos which are available in YouTube for free, or in our group it is available. If you are interested to go ahead and start doing ethics, you can do that, right? Over a period of time, it won't take much time. I have taken just 20 classes. I have finished the topic, right? So don't read much, write much. In this way, don't read any material which is off the market. You should know what is the requirement. And those guys who are preparing for mains this year, what you have to do is, you have to do the same thing that I said, half day here, half day here. Now, how our module is going to help you, that is called Mission Vijeta, you have seen. I have designed this in such a way that whatever we discuss that in the classroom, right, discussion, I have module are designed that in such a way that 1 week, one theme, one module. Once you have the discussion, look at the syllabus, look at the previous year questions and start writing answers. Say for example, today we have discussed India and its neighborhood. There are some 3 to 4 questions in the previous year questions. India, West Asia we discussed yesterday. There is one question in that. So try to write answers from that. No need to prepare extra, right? So you are already preparing for that discussion. So I have thought that we can synchronize our mission Vijeta with this ATM mission that is called Ace the Mains through MCP, module wise coaching. So coaching in the sense, I do not want to take this in the traditional mode. You have to do this. After doing this for 3 months or 4 months, definitely you are going to get beautiful marks, right? We are going to help you in any way. So this is how the structure is there. This is how you have to prepare for mains. Within short span of time, within 4 months, if you want to prepare.
నీళ్ళు పోవడానికి అది వాడ ఎన్ని ఉన్నాయి అన్నం మెతుకులు
Right. So this is a concept that I wanted to say. Again, I have given this for only those students who are new to my batch, this program, right? Not for old students. You can join in the same discussion that I am having. This is for only those students who are thinking to join new. Again, even if you join this or even if you don't join this, I don't recommend personally that you have to come and join like any other institute. If you are having this mindset that I have said to prepare, prepare it and start writing. That would be the best essence, right? That is what I wanted to say. I hope you got some understanding of how to prepare for mains. This is how you have to prepare for mains, right? If you have any questions, you can ask me. Hope this session is useful for your preparation. And one more thing, where do you get say if you are writing this year, if you are writing this year mains. So mains, one point is the best advantage of mains is you can expect questions. They are asking 20 questions in every paper. Definitely 15 to 16 questions you can expect, you can prepare and you can write them. Definitely they will be expected questions. So we have to expect the questions. If you are writing mains, please contact, because I will give you some expected questions based on some test series, based on some news, right? Then you can prepare that and you can answer. And for those students, mains, again I am saying, those who are writing this year, concentrate on optional on your side. If it is PSIR, you can meet me, but if it is not PSIR, really I cannot help you. You have to take that, right? For mains, if you are preparing, prepare expected questions. Already we have ethics, prepare that ethics separately. Essay writing I will start once I am done with certain sections of so-called modules. But if you are writing mains, try to go ahead with questions with an expected level. How I will expect or how someone will expect the questions based on this analysis itself, right? So this would be the way in which we go ahead. And for those guys who are preparing next year, right, you maintain consistent reading of the newspaper. The reason is, if you are not studying newspaper, you cannot have that wisdom, intellectual ability that UPSC has asked, right? In order to get that intellectual ability, you should have a regular newspaper analysis. Look at this, all relevant issues. How you will come to know all relevant issues? By reading newspapers. Ability to analyze. How you will analyze? Over a period of time, you have to think about the topics and you have to take a view, not the view that someone gives or not the view that I say. You have to develop your own view, right? And then look at this. It is not going to test your memory, rather it is going to test your intellectual trait. This is how you build your intellectual trait, depth of understanding of the syllabus. So whenever you read something, read in this way. At least dedicate some 1.5 hours or 2 hours for newspaper, try to read it. No need to write it, read it. Writing is separately a different concept. Once you prepare module, you can start writing as per the module, right? This is what I wanted to say for the session. If it is useful to you, that's completely fine. If it is not useful to you, I cannot do anything now, right? So if you have any questions, you can ask me. There are 4 more minutes left. Otherwise, I'll wind it up this session. Is there any question from anyone? So some new people. Jayant, glad to see you after a very long time. I just wanted to call you, Jayant. I'll talk to you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Definitely, sir.
Yeah. Keep from Arun. Alifa Khan. Yes. So any other question? Anyone? Guys who wanted to prepare for this main, start with our ethics classes, okay? Ethics classes are there, you can go ahead with it. And after writing answers, you can send it to me. I will evaluate, no issue, right? Saitya, what is the strategy for IR answer writing? See, Saitya, first thing is for writing IR answers, first you to see every answer writing is, first you have to understand this. What is the questions that they are asking? And in every answer writing, if it is for IR, every subject or every module will have subject sensitive words or module sensitive words. If it is IR, say for example, strategic importance, cultural diplomacy, uh, uh, something like this, right? IK Gujral doctrine, Panchashil doctrine that we have discussed today, everything, right? So you have to collect that words, subject specific words. There will be at least 40 to 50 words that you have to be ready. And then you have to take that particular component and you have to develop a framework that I will tell you. What is the framework that you have to start writing in international relations or any other subject? When I will take this, once I complete substantial portion of syllabus in our Vijeta mission, then I will take this, okay? Then you'll understand how to write the answers. Answer writing in IR is, you have to prepare a framework. What should be the framework? Briefly, answer writing of anything includes three things: head, body, conclusion, right? Head means introduction. How you introduce something called in international relations. If they are asking something about India, West Asia, so you have to give the heading saying that West Asia is this region. First, you have to define the limits of West Asia. If it is asking about Indo-Pacific, you have to write about which area exactly is Indo-Pacific. If they are asking something about Southeast Asia, you have to give the area. Then you have to enter into the points. How you have to enter? Based on the question, you can go with some directions: bilateral relations, regional relations, global groupings. So there will be one order. Then you have to give some thematic approach. How you can give thematic approach? If it is India and its neighborhood, there will be depending on some projects like Project Mosam, India First Policy, India Neighborhood Policy, Panchashil Doctrine, IK Gujral Doctrine. There are 5 doctrines. Whenever a question is asked on India and its neighborhood, you have to always focus on these doctrines and you have to frame the answer. So for every subject, for every topic, there will be these things. First, you have to get it. How you will get it? Once you join the discussion, once you know it, right? Then you can frame the answers. That I'll take at some other component. Once I substantially cover international relations, general studies, maybe in 3 days or 4 days, we'll come out with that topic. I have less than a minute. Apart from this, if there is any question, you can ask me. Otherwise, I'll wind it up. I think there is no need to join again, right? Is there any other question? Quickly. Right, ladies and gentlemen, then thanks for joining.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I just called 2 weeks back, but she is not always she